Moonridge Lake was our kingdom, mine and Lily's. The sun turned the water into gold, and we ruled from dawn till dusk. Those summers were serene, filled with laughter and light, yet beneath the shimmering surface, shadows always lingered, waiting. Our parents watched, blissfully unaware of the lake's secrets. It was an old, deep lake, with dark waters that seemed to hold ancient dreams. Lily, with her daisy crown, sang songs of fish and treasures, while I laughed, feeling the lake's watchful presence. Our parents saw a perfect summer, but we felt the shadows and the cold that rose from the water. Lily sensed it more, often pausing as if listening to something I couldn't hear. "The lake is waking up," she'd whisper, sending a shiver down my spine. Even in those golden days, the lake held its mysteries. The day Lily disappeared, the sky promised warmth, but hid a chill beneath its clouds. It was the kind of day that tricks you into believing nothing bad could ever happen. It was the day the music died, and the silence that followed settled over the whole town, like a heavy shroud. We played hide-and-seek by the lake, laughter echoing across the water. The lake was our playground, a place of secrets and adventure. But when I called for her, only silence answered. The reeds whispered secrets I couldn't understand. Dread crept in as the minutes stretched. Laughter faded, replaced by panic. The lake became a crime scene. Divers searched, their faces grim, breaking the surface with heavy gear. My father became a ghost, moving through the days in silence, his shoulders heavy with grief. Our family became strangers, each lost in sorrow, unable to reach one another. The lake had swallowed her whole, erasing every trace, leaving us to wonder and ache. All that remained was an unending grief, and memories that echoed like distant music, forever unfinished. The entire community felt the loss, their days marked by a quiet mourning, as if the heart of the town had stopped beating. 15 years later, I returned, seeking closure, hoping that the years had softened the sharp edges of memory. I thought perhaps the distance would have dulled the ache, that time would have offered answers, or at least peace. Yet as I stepped onto the familiar shore, a deep melancholy settled over me, as if the very air was thick with sorrow. The water's edge seemed to mourn with me, echoing the haunting memories that refused to fade. But instead, I found only the pull of the past, stronger than ever, as if the lake itself remembered me and called me back to where it all began. The town was smaller than I remembered, its streets quieter, haunted by its own history, and the weight of stories left untold. Every corner seemed to whisper secrets, every building a silent witness to what had happened. The lake, though, was unchanged, a vast, still expanse holding its breath, as if waiting for something to break the silence. Its surface reflected the world, but beneath, it kept its mysteries hidden. Memories flooded back with every step I took along the shore. Each rock and tree was a reminder of a life cut short, of laughter that once echoed here, now replaced by silence. I was a man now, but, in that moment, I felt like a boy again, anchored to the spot by the lake's terrible beauty, unable to move forward, unable to let go. The setting sun painted the water in shades of orange and purple, casting long shadows across the surface. I stood there, alone, with the ghost of a little girl who would never grow up. Fear and longing mixed within me, swirling together and drawing me closer to the lake's mystery. I felt the weight of everything I'd lost, and everything I still hoped to find. I needed to understand, to know why things had happened the way they did. The questions that haunted me as a child still echoed in my mind, demanding answers. The silence was absolute, pressing in on me from all sides. In that silence I waited, hoping the lake would finally give up its secrets. The lake held me there, a living scrapbook of memories and unanswered questions, refusing to let me go until I found what I was searching for. As night fell, the lake whispered, a chorus of voices rising from the water. Every ripple seemed to carry a secret, and the moonlight painted silver trails that shimmered and faded. The whispers were not just sounds, but chilling echoes that seemed to curl around my thoughts, making the air heavy with suspense. Each murmur from the deep sent a shiver down my spine, as if something unseen was waiting just beneath the surface. I strained to hear, recognizing the whispers as old and patient. The water remembered every story, every sorrow, every joy that had touched its depths. The lake was alive, a consciousness of voices and memories, holding on to fragments of lives that had touched its shores. I knelt at the water's edge, listening. My fingers brushed the surface, and for a moment, I thought I could feel the pulse of the lake, steady and deep. The whispers were gentle, persistent, and strangely welcoming. In that moment, I understood. The lake remembered, and now, so did I. Among the whispers, one voice stood out. Lily's. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice clear and close. Tears streamed down my face as I realized she was here, in the water. Her voice was a mix of joy and terror, promising an end to loneliness. A glowing hand reached up from the water, her hand inviting me. It was as if the hand itself was woven from memory, ethereal, stirring a storm of longing, hope, and fear deep within me. "Come see," she urged, her voice full of gentle persuasion. I reached out, my fingers trembling, breaking the water's surface. It was madness, but it made sense in a way nothing else had. I needed to touch her, to bridge the gap of empty years. I reached for my sister, drawn by her voice and the promise of reunion. My car was found 2 days later, abandoned at the lake's edge. The sheriff, familiar with the lake's secrets, organized a search. My footprints led to the water, then vanished. The divers found nothing, just like 15 years ago. The lake had taken me, leaving only questions and grief. On the third day, ripples spread from the lake's center, unnatural and deliberate. They lapped at the shore where my footprints ended, then the lake stilled. It was a perfect repeat of the past, a maddening mystery. The lake held its secrets, refusing to give them up. The ripples were a calm, rhythmic pulse, a message from the deep. Each ripple seemed to carry a silent question, echoing across the water and into the hearts of those watching. In their quiet persistence, the ripples hinted at truths just beneath the surface, unraveling mysteries that no one dared to speak aloud. My story became a local legend, a cautionary tale of the lake's hunger. The town whispered of the lake's memory, a place of continuation, not endings. On quiet nights, new voices joined the old whispers, a growing chorus. A man's voice mingled with a little girl's, speaking of shared memories. They were not alone, part of a silent congregation in the lake's embrace. The lake was a library of souls, a place of waiting and memory. It was a circle, a song with new verses added over time. The lake held its secrets, reflecting the changing seasons. Yet, in its depths, there was a gentle hope, an unbroken promise that every story would find its place. A brother and sister were finally together, waiting for the next chapter. The tale drifted on, serene and timeless, echoing softly through the ages. The story was never over, always waiting for the next listener.